I'm Rashonda Cade. This is Reading with Rashonda. We are definitely in a different space tonight. I had to go to a different room in my house and my computer wasn't working and I'm on my phone. I'm doing all the things tonight and I'm wearing a little vest. It's a little noisy. I know the lighting isn't amazing. I should be facing the light, but trust me, this was the best way I could make it happen. So I'm Rashonda Cade. This is Reading with Rashonda. It doesn't even say Hagar's Daughter on the front. We are reading Hagar's Daughter by Pauline Hopkins. We are on chapter 33. Thursday, there was a settling down for a fresh start, an intense expectancy throughout the court. All felt that they were nearing a crisis. There were many new faces seen amid the throng, and among them were the well-known features of Mrs. Bowen and Jewel, both closely shrouded in their somber mourning robes. Speculation was ripe as to the line of the defense. What were they to hear now? What could be the defense that could overpower the weight of evidence already given, which seemed to make a fatal verdict a foregone conclusion? And yet somehow, from the highest to the lowest of that hushed, excited throng, there was a curious, subtle feeling that some such resistless power lay in that reserved defense now about to be launched. Perhaps the wish was father to the thought. The calm confidence and lack of anxiety on the part of the defense hinted of powerful resources. One lawyer remarked to another, "It looks as if he had a reserve force that will absolutely reverse the battle." Just as I move and lean in, the light gets weirder and weirder. I'm sorry about this. Ooh, it's kind of a long chapter too. You know what? Oh, it's definitely a long chapter. We're not going to read this whole thing. We're not under our best conditions here. So I will read maybe just a couple of pages. It won't be our fullest reading experience, but I was like, I have to make this reading. The people need Pauline Hopkins. The people need Pauline Hopkins. All right. The prisoner sat with folded arms, cool, motionless as a statue outwardly, but within, the man's blood was on fire. Now, Governor Lowe, with courtly manner and in sonorous tones, took up his part in the drama, beginning with the prisoner's alleged reckless youth as bought out in Miss Madison's testimony mainly. He admitted that his client had been wild, but not to the point of profligacy. He spoke tenderly of the absent aged father, a helpless invalid, and his indulgence of an only child, motherless too, from birth. Proud, passionate, high-spirited, indulged, uncontrolled personally, and in the expenditure of money, and that at this most dangerous period of a lad's life, the young man had met Miss Madison and succumbed to her fascinations, whom he intended to show was but a beautiful adventuress. The court, he said, has been prejudiced against my client more by this woman's evidence than by any other testimony introduced for the government. Added to that, the sympathy of the whole audience has been aroused by the spectacle of a helpless woman's trust betrayed. Bah! Let me briefly unfold to you, gentlemen of the jury, the truth of the garbled tale so skillfully woven by a designing woman. So clearly, designing woman in this instance is a woman with design, somebody who is scheming and conniving, and that is what the phrase means until like 1980s, 1990s, whenever designing women came out. And they were women who designed they were designers. Anyway, if you don't know the show, you should watch it. It's a good show. All right. Governor Lowe then related the story of the past winter and the broken engagement as known to our readers, with added facts to show that his client had in no way wronged the woman, who knew perfectly well what she was about, having previously become a party in a conspiracy designed to force Cuthbert Sumner into marriage, and at the same time give the control of the wealth of a well-known family into the hands of the gang through the daughter of the house, betrothed of the accused. Counsel then told of Aurelia's proposition of the day before the opening of the trial, and that the warden was a listener to the conversation between the prisoner and the witness, of her offer to give testimony at the trial, which should free him as she knew the guilty party. Of the prisoner's scornful rejection of the offer and his final retort when he told her that if she were as pure as snow, he would never wed with one of colored blood. Dun, dun, dun. Here, the astute counsel paused for his telling point to take effect. Nor was he disappointed in his calculations, for its action was as an electric shock upon the aristocratic gathering. And now, Your Honor, and gentlemen of the jury, he resumed with solemn impressiveness, I am going to prove that my client's version of his connection with this affair is absolutely true, that he was not the perpetrator of the deed, but by the irony of fate, he has been placed in a position where it was next to impossible for him to prove his innocence. Again, burden of proof, burden of proof. You do not have to prove you are innocent. You are presumed innocent until proven guilty. I mean, I feel like at this point, Cuthbert Sumner was a Black man, the way this is going down for him. And I know I'm not right for that, but just sometimes it feels like miscarriages of justice are aimed toward non-whites more than they are to whites. But anyway, I hate every sort of miscarriage of justice. And this whole burden of proof thing has really been bothering me. All right. Where was I? After Mr. Sumner left Miss Bradford in the office on that fatal Sunday night, a person who shall be nameless still for a time, a man high in official life, a leader in society, did enter said office and talk with the murdered woman whom he had promised to marry in a short time. While there, they took wine together, he himself pouring it out and placing in her portion the arsenic, grains of which were found in the empty glass and in the woman's stomach after death, as testified to you before the coroner et al. Again he paused, for he could feel the horror that thrilled the crowd. This man, gentlemen of the jury, was aware of the relation formerly existing between Miss Madison and the accused, and scoundrel that he is, used the woman as a tool for the base purpose of blackmail, which fortunately a higher power has frustrated, and for other reasons as well, planned to leave Mr. Sumner so surrounded and connected with Ms. Bradford as to render it impossible for him to extricate himself from the charge of murder. The counsel's manner was most effective as he made his charges, the whole scene so dramatic that only a sensational melodrama could have rivaled its power. A subdued whew went from mouth to mouth as a faint glimmer of the truth began to show something of the possibilities of the line taken by the defense. I am going to stop there. The lighting is bad. I don't know. It's a long chapter. We got in a little bit of the delightful Miss Hopkins, and we'll call it an evening. I'm Rashonda Cade, and this is Reading with Rashonda.